You gotta be kidding me with Ruinous Effigy. I made a community post asking you bros what you thought about it. Was it a beast gun or was it a run and gun base game fun gun? And a lot of you told me that it was a base game gun, so I almost didn't get this. I was gonna work on my light grind and I was like, you know, fuck this exotic, but bro, I'm glad that I got it. It's on par with the Telesto-esque type weapon when it comes to the ad control you get with this weapon. It's pretty much a rocket launcher that you can guard with. Let's get into it and talk about Ruinous Effigy, about the damage and all the little perks that it has. I don't have the catalyst yet, but the catalyst pretty much turns it into an oppressive darkness type gun, getting you a 30% debuff when you damage targets with a sphere. It has a light attack, a heavy attack, and then you have the guard. This is console controls that you're looking at right here. But let's hop into some damage to kind of learn more about this weapon. So here's a regular melee. You can see on the health bar what it does to this yellow bar Vandal. Now let's get with the sphere and do a melee with that and then compare the damage differences. And you'll see that when you do the melee with the sphere, it's about 30% more than a regular melee, and it also stuns targets, kind of like Shield Disorient. It takes a total of 9 melees with the sphere, and then 14 melees with the regular melee, so you're getting like a 30% damage buff. Whenever you're using the guard button, you have a timer that starts at 29 and counts down to 1. Whenever it gets to 1, it starts ticking your health away, and then after that tick starts, you get 9 ticks, and then it'll actually kill you, but as you kill enemies, it'll also heal you. We'll go back to that, but earlier I said it was like you have a rocket launcher you can guard with, and I mean just that. When you take a look at the damage comparison, with the slam, it goes to the V on the Vandal, and then whenever we pull out a rocket launcher and shoot a target, it's exactly the same amount of damage. So you're pretty much walking around with the mid-range rocket launcher when you slam it on the ground. And the cool thing about it is Ruinous has a ton of ammo, so you can get quite a bit of these when you kill targets. Here's an example of the healing mechanism that happens when you guard and kill targets with the sphere. It's pretty much like you have Devour on, and you also have Shield Disorient, no matter if you're matching shield burns or not. And then doing the slam, you finish it off with a rocket launcher blast, so it's a pretty sick gun. Especially since you don't have to have matching shields, so something like Grandmaster, you can have that solo aspect or team aspect because you can apply that oppressive darkness type effect once you get the catalyst unlocked. This can be especially beneficial if you're on a hunter using the invisible subclasses top tree or bottom tree, because you can be invisible while you're holding the sphere and just walk around and start debuffing targets where they can't even see you or damage you, and then have your teammates slay everything around as all the targets will be disoriented. The build we're about to get into is going to be based around the Devour subclass. However, it is a universal subclass. I just like the Devour because once you have Devour going, you can get some incredible recharge rates while you're disorienting targets and killing them inside your sphere. And Devour's not just good for Ruinous Effigy, it can get you out of a whole lot of jams. So let's say that you're out of ammo, you have a grenade charge, you can eat that grenade, and if you have a rocket launcher, you can just blast that rocket out and immediately heal yourself. And I already got all my grenade charge back just by killing 4 adds with a rocket launcher. Ruinous does offer the healing capabilities when you kill targets, but it doesn't give you all of your health back, it kind of chips it up. But the cool thing again about Devour is it gives your full health back as opposed to that little bit. And of course, on top of the recharge rates, another really good benefit about the guarding is if you're against something like an ogre or any boss that stomps you, or even a tank, you can sit right in front of them, let them stomp, and it doesn't blow you backwards. And when you're guarding and at the one counter that would normally kill you after 9 ticks, you can still be killing targets and getting all your health back, and then before the sphere's about to end, you can just slam it down and again get that rocket launcher damage. Now let's hop into the build and build the Ruinous Effigy out. Now when it comes to your helmet, there's really only one exotic helmet that's called for because it's a void damage, and it also goes with universal subclasses, and that's Nezarec Sin. Any kind of void damage you get, whether it's a grenade damage or a weapon damage, it gives recharge to every one of your abilities, your super, your melee, your rift, and your grenades. We're going to be using 2 ways to get charged with light. The first one's going to be sustained charge, auto rifle, machine gun, or trace rifles, which is what Ruinous is. We'll charge you with light. It's just 3 kills to charge yourself, but you have to kind of be aware because if it's a kill whenever the void is collapsing into the sphere, one of those kills won't go towards the charge with light kill. So if you're getting 3 rapid kills and one of them turns into the sphere, it doesn't count for those. But don't feel like you have to get 3 back-to-back-to-back kills really quick. You get a few seconds between each kill to get charged with light. Even though it does say rapid kills, it doesn't have to be that rapid, if that makes sense. The reason that you don't see any of their perks on those gauntlets is because that's actually not the gauntlets I'm going to masterwork. I'm going to try to find some better statted ones, but once I do that, I'm going to be using rifled loader with sustained charge, and then of course for Grandmaster purposes, all the armor pieces when I get them all complete and finished are going to all have major or minor resist on them. I'll show more gameplay of how this all ties together towards the end, but we're going to be using Taking Charge for our second Charge with Light perk, so anytime you make wards from a super or dual kills from a masterwork weapon, it's an easy way to get Charge with Light. And then obviously, since we're using a void subclass, it's going to be using overload grenades and then counter charge to get charge of light, which is technically our third charge of light perk. But as far as your seasonal slot charge of light perks, we're going to be using those two. And now onto our leg piece. So reactive pulse is something that you're not going to notice is even on your armor build unless you're doing an ordeal of any kind. Whenever I was using this on patrol or doing contact public events, I almost didn't even include this perk because I couldn't tell if it was working or not. And it's because in base game, the guarding pretty much kills everybody immediately, so when you have reactive pulse on, you don't really notice its benefits, but when you launch an ordeal of any kind and use the guarding with it, that's when you notice really just how powerful and useful this perk is. And it pairs really well with Ruinous Effigy and its guarding perk. So I'll show you an example right here. So we're going to kill the Cyclops, and then watch as I walk up to all these Vex that are about to be in front of me. The blast radius you get with this perk is pretty far, and anytime I'm around 3 enemies and one of them shoots me, it sends that shockwave out that'll either kill them if they're like weak file type red bar ad, or stagger any orange bar ads. And then right there I have the sustained charge, so I'm charging myself with light after that to walk up to the next group of ads. And then once I'm closing in on those ads, I start the guarding, and then whenever I get closer to them, the reactive pulse goes off and then damages or kills any ads I'm about to guard, and then I can finish off any orange or yellow bar targets that I'm closing in on. This is an excellent run and gun perk that you really don't even pay attention that you have on. All of a sudden people will just be blowing up out of nowhere, such as this situation right here. I make an orb with the auto rifle because it's masterwork, and then as soon as I touch that orb, I get shot by those Vex, and then all 4 of them blow up immediately. Here's another example of this using a rocket launcher, and watch how far the blast of this is. I'm going to go pick the orb up from the rocket launcher, and as soon as I slide into it, the ads that are like 10 to 15 feet away just blow up out of nowhere. And then with that last red bar ad, I can easily turn him into a sphere and then walk over to the Minotaur, have matching shields on, so when I blow his shield up, he's going to get more damage, and then he's disoriented, so he really can't do anything. But reactive pulse with Ruinous is really slept on. Now for the final perk, it's going to be Protective Light on our Bond, and then we're also going to be using Better already, so anytime we touch those orbs, we're going to be charged with light from taking charge and heal ourselves. And then we have Oppressive Darkness Grenades to go with the oppressive benefit that the catalyst for this gun's going to add once I get that, and then the minor or major resist. Now let's tie it all together, and I'll show you gameplay footage of how this all plays out. We shoot the auto rifle, make the orb because it's masterworked as I was saying earlier, so we get 1 orb every 2 kills that we get. Now if I had 3 ads right here, the reactive pulse would kick in as soon as I touch this orb, but it doesn't because there's only 2 ads, but then I get the protective light right after that, and I touched that orb so I healed myself, so I get multi-benefits from that. In this situation, I'm charged with light times 2, so when I'm closing in on these ads, I just blew up some of them, and then I got Ruinous Effigy staggering them and killing them, and then I get my shield busted, so I have protective light. So every perk I had just took place just by closing in on ads. It's that simple. I'm going to activate Devour right here, so every kill I get is going to heal me. There's 3 ads here, so I'm going to get charged with light from sustained charge. And by having protective light, obviously that's going to protect me every time I get my shield busted, which is going to happen quite a bit if this was a Grandmaster, so I'm always prepared for that. And don't forget that I have the minor and the major resist, not all of them, but they're always taking place in effect on this build every time I'm taking damage in any situation. Here's a great example of how seamless this build works for anybody. I'm going to get sustained charge because of the auto rifle kills, and I also make an orb, so when I touch that orb, Better already kicks in, I become charged with light, reactive pulse then kicks in, damaging other ads, and then I have oppressive darkness and protective light kicking in at the same time. But as I was saying earlier, this is really just made for ordeal purposes. If you try to do this in contact public events, you're really not going to notice the benefit of reactive pulse just because ads are really easy to kill and the guarding pretty much takes care of the cake for you. But whenever you're closing in, ready to guard ads, and then you watch all these other ones blow up next to you, or you get those kills that you didn't even mean to just because you touched an orb and then got shot and you had multiple ads around you, especially in harder content, you really appreciate all these perks and how they're put together. So definitely try that out. If you're curious of the auto rifle that I'm using, it's the Forward Path, the one from Iron Banner. It's got iron grip, flared magwell, rifle scope SSF, which I really like on console. The zoom that it adds allows you to focus fire a lot more. I just love all those perks that I have on this version put all together. It was the best one that I had found. I have other ones too that have dynamic sway reduction and iron grip, which is really good too, but having pulse monitor, refilling your magazine when your shield's busted in PvP, it was actually the first drop that I had, and I was extremely lucky to get that, so thank you RNG gods. But anyways, Guardians, thanks for tuning in. Try this build out, but like I said, try it in harder activities like Master and Legendary or whatever versions your light level is capable of doing right now. I'm still trying to get my grind up. I don't think I'm going to make it for Grandmaster. Last season I had to grind 4 artifact light within 3 days, and that was a huge pain, and I'm like 11 light away right now, so I don't think that I'm going to make it. I'm going to be trying, but we'll just have to see. And also, just to mention, this is not the Warlock build video I've been talking about. This was kind of a side thing that came up. I got Ruinous Effigy, started playing with Ruinous, then I wanted to build it out, so I made a video for it. But stay tuned for the Warlock build video. I'll be making that next, then going back to Titan and, you know, whatever else comes out, basically. But thanks for supporting this channel, Guardian. If you want to join our Beast Squad, I highly appreciate that. Or you can shop at teespring.com/Rustopholis, or join our Discord and chat with other beasts like yourself. My name's Rustopholis. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next video next time.
In space.